So the next figure that we can go for is a uniform hollow cone. So this thing will be like the birthday caps that you would have seen. They are conical in shape, they are hollow inside, so there is a very thin layer of paper that makes up that birthday cap, and I'm speaking about something of that kind. So there is a very thin layer of material that makes up the surface of this conical cap, and there is nothing filled inside, it's air. And we can assume some variables here. We can say that for this uniform thin hollow conical cap, the mass is m, and let us say the base radius is r, and let us say the total height is capital H. Let us also assume that the slant height of this guy is small l. In fact, that assumption is not needed. We will assume it in the solution itself. So this is what is actually given to you, and you need to figure out where is the center of mass of this uniform hollow cone. Now one thing is very sure, that there is one axis of symmetry here, and that axis is the vertical line going through the vertex, through the apex of the cone and through the center of the base. So if there is a vertical line like that, then the center of mass must lie somewhere on that vertical line. But exactly what distance from the base or exactly what distance from the top, that we need to calculate. So for that, let's take a different figure. Let us introduce an axis system here. So let's take a figure of this kind for this particular problem, where to the right hand side I'm taking the x-axis. It doesn't really make a difference because I'm not interested in that. And vertically downwards I have taken my y-axis, and I'm doing so because I want to measure all the distances from this apex here, and I want the distances to be measured in the downward direction. And then the location of the center of mass which I will get will also be with respect to the apex. Now what I will do is, I will not try to work in terms of vertical height. I will try to work in terms of slant height, because that helps me to find out the surface areas very easily. You know the formula for the surface area of a cone is pi r L. So what I can say here is that this entire mass is distributed on the total curved surface area. There is nothing inside, and there is no flat circular region at the base. So this is completely hollow everywhere. The base also is just a boundary. There is no disc-like thing over there. So the entire mass m is in the curved surface area. I can then say that the mass per unit area, or sigma as I say, is equal to m by pi r L. But this L I don't know, so I will just assume where L is the slant height. Now I can obviously write L in terms of R and H, but it will make the problem more complicated. So let's try to assume it as L, try to get to a solution, and then if the need arises we will insert L. Otherwise we will just let it be. So what I do is, here I take an element at some slant distance from the origin. So let me do that. Let us take some distance from the origin here, like this. Maybe that distance is some x or something. So this is some distance x, and there I increase this by a small amount dx. So there is a small increment in this distance which is equal to dx. And the small element which I have got, a small ring shaped element, will be on the surface of this conical cap, which will look like this. So this is the small ring shaped element that I'm going to get on the surface of this cone. And how much is that shaded area that I have obtained? That shaded area is, in fact, you can break this entire figure up into two cones. You can say there is a slightly larger cone, and then there is a slightly smaller cone, and from the total surface area of the slightly larger cone, if you subtract the surface area of the slightly smaller cone, the job is done. Where the slightly larger cone will have a slightly larger radius. So the radius is here, this much, and the slightly smaller cone will have a slightly smaller radius, which is this small amount. So there is a small increment in the radius also. So I can probably say that the radius here is some small r, and here it is small r plus dr. Now the moment I work in terms of x and small r, I'm going to work in terms of two variables. We want to avoid that. So let's take something that is fixed and introduce one variable in place of these two variables. So what I do is I assume the semi-vertical angle here to be some alpha or something. So the semi-vertical angle here is alpha. So I can represent x and r in terms of each other. I can say maybe sine alpha. So from the figure you can easily see that sine alpha will be r by x, small r by x, which will also be r plus dr divided by x plus dx. So therefore you can write small r as x sine alpha, and you can write r plus dr as x plus dx times sine alpha. And then the shaded area here, this small amount of area. So therefore shaded area becomes the total curved surface area of the larger cone. So here for the larger cone I can say sigma times pi times r, that will be r plus dr times the slant length, which is x plus dx, minus the curved surface area for the smaller cone, which is going to be pi into small r into x, which is the slant length. So sigma into pi into r into x. So the shaded mass will become dm is equal to sigma pi taken common, and you are going to have x plus dx whole square sine alpha minus you are going to have x square sine alpha, and which will give you sigma pi sine alpha times x square plus dx square plus 2x dx minus x square. You can throw away some terms. You can throw away x square. You can throw away dx square because that is negligible, and the only term that you are left with is 2x dx. And so you are going to get dm as 2 sigma pi sine alpha into x dx. And what will be the center of mass of this small ring which I have obtained here? So if you look at the distance of the center of mass of this ring from the origin, which I have taken to be at the apex of this cone, you will see that it is equal to x cos alpha in the vertically downward direction. So therefore I can say y center of mass is x cos alpha. And once you have got this information, you can easily find out the center of mass of this entire conical cap by integrating the y into dm terms for all such small rings, dividing them by the sum of all those masses. So what I will have is, so therefore y center of mass of the conical cap is equal to integral of x cos alpha times 2 sigma pi sine alpha times x dx divided by integral of 2 pi sigma sine alpha times x dx, where the values of x will range from 0 to small l, because small l is the total slant height. So the numerator will give you, therefore the numerator gives you, you can take a lot of things out. So 2 sigma pi sine alpha cos alpha, everything goes out. 2 sigma pi sine alpha cos alpha, and what are you left with? X into x squared dx. So it will give you x cubed by 3, and so x squared dx gives you x cubed by 3, where the limits are 0 to l. So you are going to get l cubed by 3 in the numerator. And what about denominator? Denominator will be the integral of all this. So 2 pi sigma sine alpha taken out, 2 pi sigma sine alpha times you have x dx, it will give you x square by 2. You will have to insert the limits, it will give you L square by 2, and you are going to have L square by 2. And so therefore y center of mass of conical cap is, when you divide these two, a lot of terms will immediately go off, like 2 pi sigma sine alpha goes off. So you will just have cos alpha times L cube by 3 times 2 by L square, and it will give you 2L cos alpha by 3. And I know what is this L cos alpha, because if L is the total slant height, this much, then L cos alpha is going to give you the total vertical height of the cone. So this is 2h by 3. So this will give you 2h by 3. So there is no need to know the value of this L explicitly. You can still express the final answer in terms of the given variables. And the final result which we have is this. If you have to find out the center of mass of a hollow conical cap, then from the apex it's going to be a distance of 2h by 3 towards the base, or from the base it's going to be a distance of h by 3 towards the apex. So that's the answer for the center of mass of a conical cap. So please keep that in mind. So let's take this conical cap and let us take that same coordinate axis system. So x-axis to the right, y-axis down, so something like this. This is the axis system which we had taken previously, so the same kind of axis system, axis to the right, y is down. And what we do is we take a certain height from the top. Let us say, let's take a height h, small h from the top, and let us increment it, or maybe small y or something, and increment it by a small amount dy. So you end up having a ring element. And for this ring element, now you have to find out how much is the shaded area. Now to find out the shaded area here, a way to do that would be to first find out the radius here. How much is the radius? So let me assume that to be small r. So let's assume that the radius here is small r. In fact, let me do it in black, because for this element I have done everything in black. So let us say the radius is small r, while the total height is known, the total radius is known. So I know that the total height is going to be capital H, and I know that the total radius of the base is going to be capital R. So from similarity of triangles, from similarity of triangles, you are going to get small r divided by y is equal to big R divided by H. So you will have small r is equal to big R by big H into y. This is the equation that you are going to get for the radius. Now, how do we find out the surface area of a ring element like this? For a ring element like this, when you try to find out the surface area, you take the total circumference and multiply it by its height. So therefore, the small area dA for this element will be 2 pi into small r into dy. That's the height. And this is going to give you 2 pi times r by h y dy. Right, so this is the small area element that you are going to get. Now when you use this area element and you say that for this ring, from the top the center of mass is at a distance y, then y center of mass becomes y, that is in the downward direction, which is the plus y direction. And then in order to find out the total center of mass of this cone, what you will do is multiply the y center of mass with the small area multiplied by sigma, because I have to change area to mass, and find out the the integral of the numerator and the denominator. So in one step, what is going to happen is, when you are going to find out the numerator, you will get 2 pi big R by big H, 2 pi big R by big H times sigma times this y, and this y will give you a y square and y cube by 3. So y cube by 3, which you will integrate from 0 to capital H, because now the limits for y will be 0 at the apex and big H at the base. So you're going to get h cube by 3, which is 2 pi r sigma h square by 3. If I do it this way, right? So 2 pi comes here, r comes here, sigma comes here, h cube and h will give you h square, and then by 3. And what will be the denominator? Denominator will be the integral of mass. So 2 pi r by h, 2 pi r by h times sigma. So I am trying to multiply the area by sigma. So 2 pi r by h and sigma taken common. Then y dy is going to give you y square by 2, and that is going to give you h square by 2. And so therefore you have got a numerator divided by denominator equals, and some terms will go off. What are the terms that go off? I think 2 pi RH sigma, and then you have h cube by 3, 2 by h square, so 2h by 3. This also works. But I think there is a small word of caution here, and that small word of caution is this, that although the final answer works out, our area element is not entirely correct. The total surface area of this cone should be pi r L. So pi into r into that slant height L. But when you integrate this area term, what is it that you are going to get? You are going to get the area term as total surface area, which you are going to get here, is going to be equal to integral of all that. So 2 pi r by h goes out, and you will have y dy, so y square by 2, and that will be h square by 2, and you are going to get a pi r h, which is not equal to pi r L. So please keep in mind that if you just integrate the surface area elements, you are not going to get the right answer. But somehow when you take this area element with the center of mass and you try to integrate, it checks out. But then you have to be careful about the elements which you take, because at times, because of this discrepancy, you may not end up with the right answer finally.